3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Johnny Jigs podcast.
Tapping Bottom with Johnny Jigs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you guys are not listening to the Johnny Jigs podcast, I would have to say that you're missing out on some of the greatest information that you didn't know that you needed to know.
Preach.
So here we are, the third episode of the Johnny Jigs podcast, and joining me today is a dude that can dismantle any gun blindfolded in under 2 seconds and put it back together. My co-host Adam Uri. Yeah.
Ding, ding.
And then also we have special guests today from the Southern Fortune Fishing Tournaments. And if you guys have issues with names, this is going to be real easy for you. Chris and Chris. Welcome, gentlemen.
Which
Welcome.
one's Chris?
Well, yeah.
This one.
The most popular name ever. Thanks, Mom.
So Southern Fortune Fishing Tournaments, if you guys are kind of wondering about it, for you tournament guys that love tournaments like myself, we like winning stuff. We like the competitive side of things. But the unique thing is the Southern Fortune Fishing Tournament is a year-long competition. So it allows anglers to fish at their convenience, targets over, 30 species, and it's 365 days a year. So participants, they can basically schedule their own fishing schedule. Like, you don't have to just show up when the weather is rough. And so anytime that you go out fishing, you've got this opportunity to win money, right? Like
Every time.
every single time.
Every trip.
So Chris, we're going to say Chris number. What's your last name?
Belland.
Chris Belland. You're like the owner, starter, like founder. You made this happen, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Matt Crady also.
And Matt Crady. Okay.
We've grown up together, known each other since third grade, and there's always a lot of crap talking between us about fishing and who's the better fisherman and who catches the biggest fish. And, that kind of started this whole thing. And we're from Stuart, Florida.
Okay.
And there was a couple guys up in Fort Pierce that were fishing, and there was some talking going back and forth. And we really we're going to start something between like 10 guys to see, who can, catch the biggest fish. And then we realized, maybe we're onto something here. And,
Right.
the next thing the idea became, well, there's no real fishing tournament like this. And then there's no year-long tournament. And next thing you know, we got together like, hey, there's something here. We love fishing. We're super passionate about it. And there's nothing to be cooler than be involved in a fishing tournament.
Yeah, man.
And make it successful.
So Chris number 2.
Yes,
you're,
sir.
You're like me, bro.
I'm like
You know that? You're the hype man. Right?
I'm like the hype for Southern
You keep the
Fortune. Yeah,
things
I'm
going.
like the face.
So you do you're doing the social media. We fish together. We know each other,
Oh,
dude.
yeah, I fish a lot of
We've caught a
trips.
lot of fish
That's
together,
it.
man. Yeah, this is probably one of the fishiest guys you'll ever meet. But what is it? Fish Slayer?
Fish Slayer 1385.
1385.
All right, don't follow him if you want to feel like a real fisherman. That's all I'm saying. Because you will feel dwarfed in size. If you
Look,
follow
it's just
his
the way
posts.
you hold the fish. It's just all it is.
No, he
Yeah,
fishes
where's that
more
other
than
finger?
everybody.
Where's the other finger go? I couldn't see that other hand.
It's right there by like the back fin. There's like a
Back
hole
fin.
right there.
The
You
back-
just put your
right
finger right in the hole.
The old back fin.
All right, so that's how you take those incredible pictures.
Yeah, it's just basically hiding your hand, and then once you hide your hand, it's really just it focuses.
When
out.
so hold on, where does the other finger go? Break that down for me a little bit.
So the one hand's got to go up in the gill, and the one hand's got to go in the stink. One finger in the stink, and man, you got the greatest picture. You can make a good fish look like he's 40 pounds.
You know what? Like I do that. I'm not gonna lie. I do that, and then when your finger slides in there, it makes you feel some kind of way, right?
I'm gonna get a good picture.
So it does take a great
It's
picture.
gonna get you a good picture.
So I gotta ask you, so the tournament started out just kind of as like a competitive thing amongst you guys, and then what was like
as a friendly bet?
friendly, and then what was like the progression
bragging
from
rights.
there?
Entrepreneurial thoughts like, boy, there's nothing out here. Then we started doing a lot of research, and the reality, there was no year-long fishing tournament in the saltwater game. And, a lot of guys have smaller boats. So our original thought was like, hey, a lot of these guys can't even enter some of these tournaments because the selected days, the size of the waves, the swell. And we really started thinking, hey, we're onto something, and this could be really cool. And that's what started this journey. And it's just, you guys started your company. It's a journey and a process, and you're growing every year, which we have been. And the greatest part of what we found out is the guys who do enter with us, they stick around and they stay in every year. So it's been a great pattern as far as keeping people engaged. And
You got that FOMO, that fear of missing out, right?
That's
There's
right.
that one
Of
time
course.
you go out there, that 1 year you didn't sign up. That's when you're going to get it.
But
That's
that's
right.
what's good about the 1 year. I mean, you can go out today, not get them. I mean, tomorrow, I know a lot of these fish, people try to target them during different seasons, different times of the moon. Months are closed for some fish, So if you do the 1 day, 2 day tournament, you sort of like almost, you don't have the right bite for the right fish to win. So the year long just gives you the time of year. It gives you, make sure that everything's open. It gives you the full moons, the right weather. So it's fishing at your convenience on your time. And I just feel like it gives you a broad way when you're in your fishery, and you can fish other tournaments and still weigh in on this tournament. So it's just a broad way to fish every day.
The year
and
long
give you
allows smaller boats basically
Right.
to be able to really have a competitive edge versus, we're fishing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend, and it's swelly and windy, and it cuts out a lot of the small boats in that type of a tournament.
That's what attracted me to it. So like I've fished tournaments where I'm looking at the weather and I'm like, I cannot believe they're gonna do this tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
And then you got to show up. Dude, I did a tournament one time. I went with this gentleman, and I think he was kind of new into the game of the tournament world, but it was his boat. He's the captain. We get out there and like just the way he was, operating the boat, I thought I was gonna die. But then like 20 minutes into it, this dude is throwing up, and next thing you know, I'm the captain of the boat, and I'm running the show.
I'm the captain now.
I took over. I'm like, we're going jigging today. Screw this tournament.
And that's like the problem with like those 1 dayers and and weekend tournaments. We fish them in that, but yeah, some days the weekend the weather's great in those tournaments, but then some days, man, it's just rough, and it makes it hard to do what you want to do, the style you want to fish, how you want to fish, and then you almost get limited
Right.
on your fishing. So that makes it tough. So here it's just like I said, like a broad more. Every time you go fishing, when I'm in a tournament that day when I'm fishing is just a whole thrill and rush. So in this tournament, every day you go fishing, man,
Right.
you have that chance. You can enter that fish. You always feel like you're in a tournament and getting that rush.
Going back to what he said earlier, what's really cool about ours is you can fish other tournaments and ours integrated, which is really cool. We're not competing with any other tournament out there. You can actually, fish a wahoo restrictive tournament. You catch a mahi, you can weigh that mahi.
At the same time.
you can
I
get
didn't
back.
think about
So,
that.
like, we
Double
don't
bag.
compete. We're
Yep.
very synergetic with other tournaments too. So it really benefits people to look at our tournament and say, hey, I'm interested in joining this, because even though I'm fishing a marlin tournament, the bycatch is wahoo, tuna, mahi, whatever the bycatch is, they can also weigh them in those tournaments too and make money also. So, we have a good synergy with other tournaments. There's no real competition that we're in to try to outbeat another tournament. We want to work with all the tournaments.
Well, you're the only year long. You have no competition.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what's
It's the
unique
only
about
reason
this
why I'm allowed
tournament.
to go fishing, because I tell my wife I'm going out to make some money for the family.
And I'm fishing a
You
tournament.
know? Yeah. Putting
See?
food on the table.
That's right.
Money in the bank account.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It gives you good excuses to be out on the water.
Yeah.
They don't. My wife
Hope she's
doesn't
not
like the
listening to this.
idea of me going fishing, but she loves the fact when I bring back a bunch of fish and we're eating fish all week. So
Yeah.
So what's like the structure of it? And I've been at it for a while, but you guys probably have quite a bit more details than I do. So you're around, let's say I go out and I catch a big mutton snapper, then what?
So we gave people the option. There's bait stores. We have 43 bait stores from North Carolina. It goes all the way down to Key West, wraps around over to Texas. You could go there, or we got scales that you could buy for convenience. So when you get off the water, you could weigh your fish right on the dock, right there. So we know we don't want you guys to drive around here and there. So the scales that you guys want for $50, yeah.
that's a new addition we did. We found a lot of guys when they came in fishing all day, they're beat up, they're tired. They want to fillet the fish and go home instead of going weighing. And we found a lot of our in the beginning that guys weren't even weighing fish that were winners. And so we have now added that you can, when you buy in, for $50 extra, you can purchase a scale. We mail it to your house. and now you can weigh it at your dock and made it real.
Oh, that's super easy.
Yeah, trying to make it, so it's not a hassle and easy for the fisherman, and the angler, to get out there. So you can go to a bait store, though, and if you're not signed up, we have these golden tickets.
The golden ticket. Look at you, Willy Wonka.
So you can get 20% off, on your buy. So like right now, you could still buy into the tournament. Like 6 months, we're halfway in. You could still buy in. It's $300. You get the 20% off.
Wait, is that new, Chris? Is that so? So before you could only buy in up until a certain time, right? And then there was nothing. No,
we stopped that. So. In anything, if you're cutting people off from getting in, you're losing out. And our whole thing is we want to get on a great growth pattern, right? And so what was happening is, you had to sign up by X time, and then that was when you're entered, and nobody else could sign up at all for the whole year. And that's kind of what we originally discussed. But then after the first year, we said that's kind of a bad idea because when you catch a fish, you post it on Instagram, you post away, you're excited, you're in first place, you're going to tell your buddy, hey, check out this tournament, I'm in first place. And that guy in a year is not going to wait to sign up. So if you pass that information along, the whole idea is we want everybody individually getting their friends involved too, in a sense, to make it more competitive. And by cutting that out, no one was going to wait a year to re-enter. And that's what we found. So we keep the signups open 365 days a year. And it's up to you. If you feel like you're getting slacked out of 6 months, then don't sign up, wait to the new year. But in the reality, as many days as you're going to have to fish, that 6 months doesn't really matter. And the whole thing with the cool year tournament that I really like is it's a build up all the way to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody keeps topping each other.
We use real-time apps, which almost every
Money
fishing
keeps going
tournament
up.
uses. Real-time apps builds our apps, and then we have a Instagram account and Facebook and all that. So I think that the shit talking and the build up is really cool throughout the whole year.
Heck yeah. Especially when like sometimes we know the other angler and we're like, oh, guess who just put a bigger wahoo in than you.
Exactly.
On the way down here, a guy called us and says, I think I'm going to have the first place mutton snapper. And right now the leader's at 19.5 pounds. And we're excited to see this weigh in today because he thinks he's got a 20 pounder without weighing it. So we'll quickly find it. But yes, that excitement is great. That's why we do it. We love fishing. We're all diehard guys. And, there's nothing cooler than making your passion your business. And that's the idea.
Hopefully his 20 pounder is like my 20 pounder. It's actually 12. Dude, I'm always 8 to 10 pounds over.
A 20-pound mutton snapper, man, that is some bragging rights right there. You can, you definitely got some brags for even a 19.5, man. These are just big mutton snapper being weighed in. And it's exciting when somebody says when they're going to beat a big fish that big. I mean, it's exciting to see that's why, like with this tournament, to see how many big fish are actually out there.
Yeah, who's catching them, where they're catching them.
It just makes it unique, and especially when you can go from North Carolina over to Louisiana, Texas. I mean, it gives you a broad view to find all these big fish, and it's cool to see where these big fish majority come from. After a couple of years of these, we started to see like where these fish actually really come from, these bigger fish. So it's pretty cool. You figure things out, and like I say, man, it's just that every time you go fishing, you're fishing for that trophy.
It seems like something that NOAA or FWC would want to get involved with too, to get information on where these fish are caught, the sizes and things like that too. It could help.
Quantity.
100%. You could work with something, I mean, it's pretty cool, like how you see, like most of the time where these fish are basically caught in these areas.
So let me walk through this like a little bit. So there's an app, right? We've got the app. The app's on your phone. Super. Everybody knows apps, right?
When we first started this, we had to use real-time apps. I'll throw them out there because I fished, some marlin tournaments and sailfish tournaments, and they did a really good job with live updates. And they already had the platform set up because we called some app builders, and it was over astronomically priced to build an app. And we're like, well, hey, we don't have a lot of money here. We're trying to start this with, like any startup company with a minimum amount, and reached out to the kid with real time, and he was super cool about it. He loved the idea, and we got it done at a good price, and they have a good name, reputable name for their apps on most of their fishing tournaments.
Okay. So I just pull the 22-pound mutton snapper just to beat your buddy over the rail, right? And I'm like, okay, I want to enter this in the tournament. What do I do then? Like I'm pulling out the tape measure.
So video 1, we have it to where the fish comes in the boat. We want you to name the fish, the date, and basically a 360 of the fish. Just make sure there's no spearing, so you cannot spear any fish in this tournament. This is all hook and
Heck
line.
yeah.
It's definitely not spear
I like
fishing,
every
so-
bit of that.
Yeah.
Can it be mutilated? Some tournaments exclude
Yep,
that. No,
yep,
so no mutilation.
mutilated fish
Okay.
either. Yep, just mostly every tournament has that rule. So yeah, ours carries that. Yeah, if it's sharked or bit and it's anything damaged to that fish except the gaff shot, then yeah, then that fish is probably going to be eliminated. So video one, all videos have to be consecutive. There is no editing or piecing together the video. It has to be one consecutive video. So if fish comes in the boat, you say your name, the date, the species of the fish, and a quick measurement, and that's it.
Just the length.
That's it. All I need to know is the length at that point.
The length, the angler, and the date,
Yep.
because you have a time to come back.
Video. So that's video one.
So video one. So then after video one, you do have 96 hours. So we gave you guys the benefit of the doubt. We know some of these people that fish on here, they travel on the American Patriot, on the Yankee Captain. They take a couple day trips.
Wait a second. 96 hours. Listen, Broward County school system. It's not my fault. How many days is that?
4 days.
4 days.
4 days. Okay, so that's like pretty much a long range trip. Okay,
Yep.
so you got 4 days to do the second video, which is
So you got 4 days from the date you gave on the first video on video one. You have 96 hours, 4 days to get the video two. So when you get back to the dock, where you can go to one of the 43 bait stores at one of the locations, you can weigh it in. So then video two, you get to the weigh in. The fish cannot come out of the video the whole time. So when there's no editing, so one continuous video, you have to say the fish, say your name again, the date, and then a 360 of the fish to make sure it's not speared. And then we would like to see
Measurement.
the measurement.
Confirming
and
it's the
then-
same fish.
Yep. And then as you walk up to the fish from standing back, you just walk up to the scale, grab the weight with the fish, and then walk back so we can see that.
Well, you make sure
nobody's-
the scale's zeroed first. You video the zeroed scale, go back, weigh the fish, and then you lay it down. You cut its belly open, make sure there's nothing. You get a video.
no
inside
weights.
its mouth.
Like that
No
one
weights.
guy.
Yeah, that tournament
Guys,
just
yeah.
that's what started that whole thing with us cutting the belly when we first had
See,
the tournament. There
you know,
was none of that.
It's
but-
guys like that that ruin it for us all, you know? And that's why I can't go into Walgreens or CVS and get a razor because it's behind a plastic thing.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just make it harder on us. Like,
Harder and
can you
harder.
just, like, bring back bullying for people that are dishonest, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. The fuzzy TV syndrome, to smack them around a little bit and straighten them up.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Yeah, I'm a child of the
So
80s.
when we started this tournament, that exact thing you're talking about with those guys in the pike or whatever they were catching up there, that was exactly the same time we were starting this tournament. So we said, all right, how are we going to eliminate this? And it's one live stream video from the weight straight to its belly, cut it open, pull its guts out, you get a shot down its throat, and clarify that there's nothing inside this fish.
Yeah.
The length also determines a lot because, as we all know, length and weight are very, cyclical on fish, right? So we know a certain length fish, is going to be close to a similar weight too. So if you're out of a couple pounds on a fish, you can kind of tell. But the idea is the video, the way we set the video up, it canceled any doubts whether or not,
Perfect.
the weight's there.
Yeah, we want people
So it's
being
cheating.
honest. So
right.
we're going to take a quick break, guys. But when we come back, we're going to talk about what people want to know is money. Let's talk about the money, right?
It's always money,
And
baby.
then the next thing is we're going to talk about a few other things. Can you discharge a gun on the water? And we found some pretty interesting things about that. And then in addition to that, I want to explain the bag limit. And there's probably some stuff about a bag limit that you don't know that people are going to definitely want to remember so you don't get a ticket or go to jail or
Download
things like
fish
that.
rules.
So when we come back, we're here with the Southern Fortune Fishing fellas, and Adam Urey will be back and we'll dig into these things.
This is hands down one of the most incredible slow pitch jigging rods I've ever used in my life. The great fact is this and nothing less. You're gonna experience catching monster fish with the sensitivity and action like never before.
Let's talk about the big thing that everybody wants to know, money, right? What are we winning in this tournament and how does the money get dispersed? How does that work out?
So they get 80% of the proceeds of the anglers that join. They usually win. So the more anglers, the more money they could get. So basically, first year we did $1,000 a species
Correct.
$1,000 a
per
species.
species.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Wow.
So you were guaranteed 1,000, and now we did 80%. So it could be 1,200. It could just doesn't matter. It just all really depends on how many people are entered into the tournament.
So there's 30 species. Am I right? 30.
30.
So you could have an epic day and win $30,000 in one day, right?
We
Or
had
5 days, we've had a couple anglers that have won 4 and 5 fish categories.
we got
because they
some West
fish a
Coast
lot.
anglers last year, man, that won 7 fish.
The year before, a buddy of mine, Hugo, won 5 categories, and at that point, we decided to create a belt, basically. And when we throw our party for the fishing tournament, we're going to pass that belt along.
Who's
to the guy who
the
has
grand
the heavyweight.
champion?
Yeah, that's right. The
Grand
heavyweight.
champ.
Who won the most categories?
Wow.
You should engrave the name on it like this.
It is
So we
engraved,
have the
yeah.
engraved-
It looks just
so-
like a WWE belt or like a UFC belt, and we just thought it'd be a cool thing to pass around. And the old winner has to show up or mail it to us, and we
Give
trade
it up to the
along.
next winner.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, like it's 80%. So the more people that join this tournament, the bigger the purse is going to be, the more money that you're going to win.
That's right,
You're
the
winning.
volume.
So we need people to join this thing so I can win their money, right?
That's why we're here today, to pass it along, get the word out, and it's very hard to just purchase into something online, and that's why we've been slowly growing our social media presence, because if somebody doesn't know us and they see us do a marketing campaign or whatever, they're like, yeah, I'm not joining this. But as it grows and more people talk, and as our social media presence grows, I think people will be a lot more comfortable just purchasing into it, reading the rules. And
You guys also donate to charity, though, correct?
absolutely.
Why don't
Yeah,
you tell
we
us
do
about
a-
that?
We choose every year. We choose different charities to give through. We've done through the CCA. We've got some connections through there. Help me out with some other
So
ones.
do we do like Captains for Clean Water some
Correct.
years? Yeah, we usually bounce around, pick like different ones that are
Yeah.
working for the area. Especially the ones on clean water for ours. That's what definitely one. Especially when we live in Stewart, and we have one of the biggest problems of discharge in our area. So clean water for us is definitely a big factor for us.
Absolutely, and those boys over in the Caloosahatchee too get the same issues we have from the lake.
Yeah.
That is why your tournament is already successful and going to continue to be successful and just get bigger and bigger. And I firmly believe in that. So you have to give back. You have to be stewards of the ocean. You have to give back. And that's, I believe, really for Johnny Jigs as well. I think that really plays into our success as well. So that's pretty cool, man. So rules wise, right?
Rules are important.
I'm a habitual rule breaker, but you got to follow some rules,
That's
right?
right, especially when there's money on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when it comes to money, people will nitpick. So like,
or try to bend the rules. So as the growth of the company has come, we've gone through a couple different models of how it works, the way in, and it's been modified a little bit because we've had some kinks in deals where we saw there's like a weakness here and we need to adjust that. And that's why you need a full video clip. You need a 360 view. There's a lot of other items because it's very tough if somebody has broken the rules of how you're supposed to video and another guy clearly has a bigger fish. And I think it was last year, the owners had a huge debate because we had some guys that had caught clearly larger fish, but they broke the rules in the way, broken video clips, not having the original first video out in the water and other items, which created a lot of rift between the people who didn't do the video right. But when it really came down to it, we all looked at each other like, hey, these are the rules and we have to play by them. And hopefully they sign back up with us and they learn. And the next time they do a video, they do it right. And that's just it's just how it has to be.
So what you're saying is it's important to read the rules once you join. Make sure you're aware of
Just
how.
as in any tournament.
we've eliminated last year. We had like 12 pending videos just because they skipped a part, whether they didn't measure the fish in one of the videos or they clipped it, edited it, they didn't have the scale zeroed out, so there's all types of things that will, not allow the video. So everything on our app is exactly what it should be, and everything that's pending doesn't go on our leaderboard.
Yeah, we're not breaking the rules. I'm co-owner of the tournament, and I had a couple fishing trips with friends of mine, and I had bad videos. yes, I'll take the blame for it, and I hope they hear it because I'm truly sorry. But when it came down to judging and really, paying out the money, I lost about $3,000 from some friends of mine, and they're all pretty, butthurt to say the least over it. But I said, hey, I'll take the blame. I made bad videos. I thought I could go in and pitch to them, hey, I'm not here to cheat. We all fish. And unfortunately, that doesn't work in this system because the rules were the rules.
Just like any other fishing tournament you enter.
That's right.
If you break the rules, you're disqualified.
You're disqualified.
So you got to have some level of integrity when it comes to being in this tournament and doing the right thing.
Absolutely. And then
we do the honor system, man, but you still
we
gotta
do,
do
but
the
we
video,
came
right?
down to a point where if there's a huge debate between everybody on a fish or where somebody caught it to say if it was not in the right zone or like, it was an illegal catch because the grouper was shut down or, what we're going to do to eliminate that is basically someone's got to go take a lie detector test. We've called a lie detector test. We haven't gotten to that point, thank God. But basically we're going to make that person, if they're swearing that it's the right fish, they're going to go pay for the lie detector test. And if they pass it, then we'll cover the cost of the lie detector test.
I think that's pretty standard in fishing tournaments.
Yeah.
It's my wife makes me do the same thing at home. So
Yeah.
She just looks in your eyes.
She just hooks you up, and that's it, man. So I gotta tell you, so I was in Louisiana fishing a few years back, and I'm on the water, slow pitch jigging, and these guys, a lot of the guys never even seen it before. They're pretty amazed at a lot of the fish that I was catching. But at some point, I hooked into like this massive shark. And dude, I mean, it took a while, but I worked them up to the boat. I've got the cameras rolling and just to see what the shark. People like sharks, right? For some reason, people on YouTube like sharks. I think us guys who like meat fishing, we don't like sharks.
No,
we try to stay away from it as much,
away.
right? But so I finally get this shark to the boat and basically his head up. And then boom, boom, boom. And I look over, man, and this freaking backwoods country boy, freaking Louisiana dude just blasted this shark in the head. And he's like, that's going to be good for your YouTube video, Johnny. And I'm like,
The lead gaff.
and I'm like, I don't know if I can post that on my YouTube video, right? I didn't expect, it caught me off guard. I was just shocked by the whole thing because I didn't know he had a gun out. I didn't know he was about to shoot. And
You didn't have earmuffs on, and
dude, nothing, bro.
Shock.
It was just, like shells hitting me in the face and stuff. But it's all good. I love guns, man. I'm a gun owner, but I just wasn't expecting it. And then in addition to that, I'm like, is that legal? Like, can you shoot a gun on the water and kill a fish? And I know that there's like state waters and then there's federal waters, and each state can have their own regulations. So the court, like, can you discharge a gun on the water? I was wondering because it's kind of fun, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, saltwater cowboys. Come on.
dude, I like to shoot guns, right? Like, yeah. So the other day, you always see the balloons on the water.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect target practice, right? So we considered shooting it, and I'm like, I don't know if we can. So Adam started kind of digging into that, and I'm like, what is legal for shooting a gun on the water?
So first off, shout out FWC. They have been amazing. Anybody that I called me back multiple times, and they were always making sure that they're citing everything. One of the things that they asked me to say was, if anybody does see anything that does seem shady when you're out in the water, give them a call, right? Because they always want to know if there's anything shady going on.
Of course.
But it is legal for target practice in state water. It is legal for target practice in federal water.
Nice.
In federal water,
Break out the machine guns,
Well,
baby.
ain't lying.
100%, and you can, but you just
AKs.
have to make sure that any of the targets, if you are shooting a target, that it is a target that will not sink. You have to retrieve your target. You are responsible for that.
Can you use a fish as a target?
No. So here's where here's where that gets fishy, right? So in federal waters, you are allowed to dispatch a fish as a secondary means of harvest. Meaning, if you hook that fish and you have it to the side of the boat, you are allowed to shoot it to eliminate it. That is a secondary means. Your primary mean was obviously the fishing rod, reel, hook, etc.
Okay.
Oh, that's
In
good to know.
state waters, you are allowed to dispatch a fish as a secondary means on the side of the boat as long as it is not a food fish.
What? No.
And it's very vague. I was talking to the officer back and forth, so I said, so it all depends on our appetite at the time?
So
you know?
what would we
Sir-
be shooting that we wouldn't
So
eat?
if you
Sir,
look up,
I had no intentions on eating this grouper.
What you can
Why
and
would we-
say
what
will
are we
be
shooting
held
that we're not
against you.
eating?
my
Man.
mouth is full of tuna. I'm like,
Nobody eats
Disgusting.
tuna.
so it is listed, all these species, but then it also says and or any other fish that are, eaten in that area. So, if you get a shark in the state water, you can shoot that shark if you have it as a secondary means to dispatch it because sharks are not normal table fare here, right? But tunas, groupers, snappers, any of those fish, I've seen people shoot cobia, right?
Yep, yep.
Thinking because they lash around, right? Federal water, okay. State water, no. So, and then you also have to be responsible for your rounds, just like you are shooting anywhere else. You are responsible for anything happens. So, if you're out there, doing target practice, you need to know your target, what's behind it, to make sure that you're not going to be
Make
getting
sure
hit
I
there's
kind
no-
of
with.
just
Make
went
sure there's no
through that
boats around.
with my property. I have just under 2 acres in a gated neighborhood, and we're on this a state park, and hogs kept coming in my yard, and I'm right on the state park line in my property. So the neighborhood community got together and hired the Python Cowboy and had these guys come out and eradicate the hogs and get rid of them and pressure them with the dogs. And my neighbors, a police officer said, "Oh, you could shoot your gun on your property." I said, "I didn't think you could shoot your gun at all on my property." And I go through and look through the rules, and sure enough, if you're over 1.25 acres, you're in a
Really?
neighborhood, you can actually discharge a firearm, but it's very vague because it says responsibly. And what does that exactly mean, responsibly? And you can't shoot over roads, which was a thing, but it was so vague. I'm like, I still don't really feel comfortable shooting a gun in my yard.
I feel like they say with like these vague laws, I think it's just like, don't be an idiot. You know what I mean?
right, but also don't say something to the police if there's trouble. Just have them talk to your attorney.
Oh yeah.
790, there's a statute 790 for shooting in residential areas, right? So as fishing is concerned, obviously it's not a residential area, but then you would need to break that down to classify if where you are is considered residential, and then there's obviously
I'd like to
fine
debate
line.
the shooting because a spear gun is shooting something, and that's an edible fish. So where does the difference
fishing.
between?
It's not it's technically
okay,
not
spear fishing,
right?
yeah,
It's
okay,
not
yeah.
the lead projectile, it counted as explosives because in that ordinance is the explosives. You're not allowed to use TNT, dynamite, grenade, what have you, to blow them up, which would be great.
Gunpowder.
Right.
Exactly.
So in federal waters, like it's game on for excuse me, dispatching any fish
As a secondary means.
as a secondary means, but in state waters it completely changes.
Correct.
So basically,
No
you
food
can
fish.
only shoot them when they're on the hook and line. You can't just shoot one swimming around
Exactly.
and go after
Federal
it. 'Cause then
waters.
it'll sink. Right.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Federal waters.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
Is there like targets you can throw
They
out on
make
the water?
them. Yep.
Really?
The officers were actually telling me, we actually train like that, where we'll go out there and we'll put our floating targets out and we'll train out there. So
That's awesome.
You ever have the houndies like down in the Keys that when you're driving by, I always thought those would be really good to shoot shotguns.
I talked to a guy.
Flying fish coming by, man. Good target practice. Moving targets.
Discharging a firearm while the boat's moving is probably not a good idea.
Adam's got like an arsenal that like would make like some armies blush, like he's got so many
Awesome.
guns, dude. So
That's
I could
awesome.
see ourselves on our next trip out, like the first balloon we see floating, it's gonna be freaking World War
yeah.
II out there on our
Swiss cheese. Got to go get it.
You gotta pick them up though, right?
That's right.
Like, you have
100%.
to.
It's the only thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just be smart and be safe. And be safe with that firearm on the boat, right? Because whenever you're all excited, the fish, the adrenaline, we get crazy, us fishermen, whenever we get the big fish, and especially when they're side of the boat. And being responsible for that gun, making sure that the muzzle's pointed in a safe direction the entire time.
Over the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even ear protection as well, right? You're out there, you think that you're in the middle of the outdoors and it's going to be fine, but it can be deafening to shoot those guns. So ear protection is important. Eye protection as well. Things. Be as safe as you are when you're shooting on land as you are on water, if not safer.
Just
right?
never be careless with a gun.
Exactly.
That's it.
So like shoot like fishes like big tuna, federal waters, doing the tuna death roll, gets to the top of the surface, like what do you want to make sure that you're like kind of shooting like out away from the boat? I guess
I would just hold my gun down.
just go.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a video called "How to Shoot a Gun," and this guy used the modified gangster. I'm not sure if you ever saw that, but you just kind of throw the bullets at it while you're shooting.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how accurate that gets, but yeah.
I can tell you, I shot at that balloon, and I don't think I hit it once. The boat's rocking, and I'm like up and down, but I definitely was like, okay, don't shoot your gunnel. Don't shoot your buddies. Just at least get towards the balloon. I think we were pretty good.
Well, you got to think, you're on a rocking boat that's slippery. Sometimes there's fish, slime on the deck, right? So all these little things, you just have to be so safe.
Fishing
safety
line.
safety first.
Fishing lines like hitting
And
ice.
make sure there's not a lot of people around you. I think that's another thing. And I'll bring up a subject I talked about earlier. Is I have a commercial fishing buddy that has a 410 snake charmer that he uses. He fishes by himself, and as a secondary means, he pulls in fish and shoots them on the side and pulls them up. And he had done it a couple times when he was anchored up fishing. And when he came in, the police were all waiting for him, and they pull him off. You got a gun in your boat? Yeah, here it is. I use it for fishing. I'm a commercial fisherman. They test his hands. There's gunpowder. These people said that they thought he was shooting at him, and it'd be turning into a nightmare, and the police, it ended up being a court case. I think he spent about $100,000 keeping himself out of jail, and eventually the guns got dropped. But
Whoa.
yeah, you just be careful if you are. If there's people around you, make sure you're doing it safe.
So the people thought that he was shooting
At them, correct? Because there was boats around the area as he's commercial fishing, and I believe he was kingfishing at the time. And you'd bring him in and pull it over, and and get it in the boat, and which I believe is completely legal based on our conversations we just had. And he came in, and they had notified him in the boat, and they waited for him right in the inlet, and caught him with the gun and all that, and he got arrested and had to pay bail and hire a high-powered attorney, and he got out of trouble, but still it cost him a lot of money.
I feel like if there is a boat even off in the distance in the line of
Sight.
yeah, it just
Never a good thing.
don't shoot in that direction.
That's usually like our rule of thumb. Anybody in line of sight, if you can see a boat, it's just not worth it. Because, like you say, one of those incidents where he thinks you're shooting at him, it can just turn into a complete nightmare and a complete problem.
With the speed of the projectile, a lot of times, depending on the angle of the waves, the bullets don't penetrate. They will ricochet off. And you can see it whenever, there's automatic fire with tracer rounds where they're shooting at the boats, and all of a sudden, they're just flying off, right?
Yeah.
So just the same as you're on land, you know your target and know what's behind it, right? You don't shoot at anything if there's anything behind you.
Responsible.
All right, so next trip out, I want you to bring your guns with automatic tracer rounds. Do you have a Gatling gun?
Two
of them. Okay, 2 of those.
suppressed.
And what about like rocket propelled grenades?
RPGs.
Yeah.
Yep. 3 of those suppressed.
All right, you guys comment? Are you guys down?
They make quarter sticks of dynamite that are, I think, only legal in Alaska and California. And I've had the pleasure of having a couple of those and when I was younger, and they're pretty powerful. And these guys, I think they pitch them out and
sink it down
in the water, and but it's legal if if you're doing it the right way.
Not here.
No, you'll
not in
kill
Florida.
the reef.
They literally had the box that said Alaska and California is the only places were legal.
Which is crazy because you wouldn't think California would allow anything. Not even allowed to use a spoon.
I mean, this was a long time ago. They probably eliminated that fun.
So, gentlemen, let's we're gonna move into the last thing that we have on the list, and then we're gonna kind of shoot the breeze a little bit about some crazy stuff that's happened with Southern Fortune fishing tournaments. But we want to talk about the bag limit. So let's take a quick break, and we'll get to that right when we come back. So something interesting that I was kind of digging into. I went fishing with Victor from Land Shark Outdoors like a few weeks ago, and we went out for golden tiles. And our first drift, I pulled up just an amazing golden tile, right? But the bag limit on golden tiles is 1 per person, right? And Victor was like, well, continue fishing because there's black belly rosefish down there, right? Go for the black belly rosefish. But if you hook up on something, got to pass the rod, right? Because you can't catch more than right. So if we have 3 anglers on the boat, there's a bag limit of 1 per angler. That means that we could legally possess 3 fish on the boat, right? Yep. But what's the deal on reeling them up? I'm kind of curious. What is you guys' guess on that? Like, can you catch somebody else's bag limit?
Well, if they can't catch it for themselves, I guess I will.
Are you setting us up here? I'll just set up question.
Arrest us, man.
My wife would ask a question like that.
No, because it's interesting. Like, there's so many like nuances. Like, and we talked about it earlier. Just about the whole shooting thing. Like, there's so many gray areas in the law, right? So, like, we're all avid fishermen. We've
That's
been
right.
doing this.
And I don't know that, so I'm not answering it.
Yeah, right.
Bag limit is not boat limit, though, right?
It's not a boat limit. It's bag limit.
So then I would say no, because boat limit would mean yes, that I could catch 10 because
the
I'm on
boat.
the boat for the
Right.
boat.
Right.
But bag limit means what I bag.
Right.
what you bag.
Because you bagged that. You know what I'm saying?
That's your bag.
Why you always
Yo,
got to make
diggity.
things weird?
That was a shout out for Butters.
So we're all on the boat, right? There's 4 of us, right? The 4 of us, Chris, Adam, myself, right? I catch a golden tile. Can I continue fishing for golden tile?
I'm going to say no.
I would say no because it's a bag limit per person, and it is when you read it, it says per person, but you know that's one of those things that if it's on your person whether you're gonna do it right or wrong. But I could probably say we're probably all guilty of putting the bag limit to the boat limit.
I could
versus per person.
definitely vouch for as long as there's 5 of them fish on that boat and we have our 5 for the limit. I don't think
Right.
it's just
Teamwork makes the dream work,
that's it.
baby.
And I'm going on the next fish.
Right? All right. You're all
When
going
you're
to
talking
jail.
rules. Yes, exactly. We're running a tournament, so that's why I feel like we're getting ourselves stuck into this situation.
So we're all going to jail, right? Basically, there's like a federal law on it, and it says the regulations governing the bag and possession limits for the South Atlantic snapper grouper fishery are detailed in 50 CFR 622.187, right? And so what this says is it says that the bag limits for various species within the snapper grouper complex, for instance, it outlines that the bag limit for golden tile is 1 per angler per day, right? So this means each angler is allowed to harvest only 1 golden tile fish per day, and it is not permissible for one angler to catch an additional golden tile fish to count towards another angler's bag limit. That is the law, right? So that's coming from the electronic code of federal regulations, and that is law, right? That is the law. So essentially it kind of goes on to say, and I kind of went down like a little rabbit hole like I always do on things when I'm supposed to be actually working, and then I'm doing stupid stuff like this, right? So this is my day, the life of a fisherman, right? So I'm digging into it, and it also says like, so say like we're going for black group or golden tile, whatever the case may be, I'm supposed to stop targeting that species while we're on the boat. So if you guys go out and you're filming, it's like you got I know passing the rod, it's like when you're the guy taking the rod, it's not so bad. When you're the guy handing the rod, you're like, here you go, sucker. Here's another fish for you.
That's against my religion. That's against my religion to do that.
But,
so I'm gonna. They can't really question.
But
me
at the end of the day, if you feel like that fish could potentially be something you already caught, you got to pass it, and your boy's got to take it, man. Boy's got to take that, and that's kind of a gray area too.
If you're in the tile fish grounds, that's what you're gonna get. I guess there are the
there's
rosies,
black belly rosefish down there.
Where we fish, it's only tile fish. So
like
pass the rod.
that's like a good one, man. Because like sometimes when you're snapper fishing, you get snapper, you get grouper, and grouper snapper season runs simultaneously, dude. You just sometimes you just never know until it comes up what it actually really is.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's true.
So I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing to dig into, and I think that's what we're really pushing this show is just to kind of educate guys, give them good information. I could tell you that I didn't know that, I'll research it for you guys and fill you guys in. So whenever you're tapping into Tapping Bottom with Johnny Jigs, you're going to kind of get these little nuggets of good information that's going to help you be a legal and better angler.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, man, it really is. It really, really is. So, Southern Fortune Fishing Tournament, you had some interesting stuff to tell us, Chris. Just kind of digging a little more into the tournament as we kind of wrap up towards the end of the show here. So, share some nuggets, like some exciting stuff that's going on, new stuff that's probably developing within the tournament. You were telling me while we were on our break. What do you got?
Well, we've got a couple guys right now battling for first place mutton snapper. Currently, 19.52 pounds is in first place.
That's a beast.
And when we were driving down here, one of the guys called and said, "Hey, I'm going to weigh one. I think I got a 20-pounder." So we were all itching our hands. And in between the break here, they called us and said it was 19.5. He said, "Don't worry." His name's Adam, and he said, "Hey, don't worry. Last season we caught a couple over 21, 22 pounds. So I know I'll beat this 19 and a half, so I'm not over stressing over the point.
I think the record for mutton's like 24 or something, somewhere right in there. Like it's not.
These guys are getting close to that, man. These guys are getting real close to like a record. It's amazing how big these mutton snappers really
he said
are.
last year they had 3 over 21 pounds in one day. So,
wow.
Yeah, they got the honey hole there.
Did he give the coordinates to that?
Yeah,
you have to put coordinates on.
Just outside of Biscayne Bay, I believe.
Right there, just so
that's
it's out.
mutton snapper fishing.
Yeah. To put an exact number, it's somewhere between 100 and 1,000 feet. You know?
That's right. Only when the sea turtles are hatching these things bite. So.
Yeah, that's the perfect time.
We got some big fish caught this year, man. Like we got like a 63-pound black.
Oh wow!
I mean,
that's a beast.
Sea black grouper,
34-pound blackfin tuna, which is a decent
34
braggable.
pounds.
Yes,
34-pound blackfin.
That's totally braggable.
Dude, do you know how fun a 34-pound blackfin tuna is on a slow pitch outfit?
My biggest is 28.
Wahoo right now is 103.
Have you guys ever seen a 100-pound wahoo in person?
I did one time behind my boat.
Dude, it doesn't even make register in your head when that
how
fish.
big that thing really is.
And I don't think I've seen a lot of videos of wahoos 90 pounds plus coming over the rail, but when you actually like the videos just don't
do justice.
No, you can't make sense of it in your head when you actually see that fish.
I do a lot of high speed trolling, and I'll tell you, when we pull a 40-pound wahoo in the boat, everyone's going, "It's 60 pounds, 60, 70 pounds," you know, and then as they go in the ice and we get to the scales, everyone kind of calms down and starts going, maybe it's 50, 45, 50, 38 pounds.
That's
the
so
song
a real
of the
100-pounder monster fish, man. Monster fish at 100 pounds.
Dude, on our YouTube channel and stuff, you will never hear me call out a weight because I am always 10 pounds over.
That's part of fishing. The fish was this big, right?
Yeah.
But you're really just showing this, but this is just a detector. It was this big.
Well, that's just like those fish pictures you were saying. I mean, those videos don't really give justice to how big that fish really is. So, like with a picture in mind, I mean, you can either get a picture and it just look like a little random fish, or you can make it look like really what it is. And at the end of the day, I feel like instead of just having that little fish picture,
except for a 100-pound wahoo, you can't hide that or deny the size of that fish.
Yeah,
you know, it's they're huge. I'll go over some other fish. We got a 5.18 yellow tail snapper, which is a pretty decent flag.
Okay.
195.5 pound yellowfin, which I believe was caught on the West Coast. We don't get a lot of those.
Whoa.
I think that was caught by Jason Diver.
Okay.
Like Jason Diver got that fish.
So you gotta, I mean, when you're weighing that fish, you gotta have somewhere to hang that thing.
Oh,
You're not
man.
holding that in your hand.
That's right.
That's a good fish right there.
What's up for grabs right now as it stands? Like, where should I be going heavy?
Mahi's only 19 pounds.
Oh, dude, I got
Golden
that.
Lane
tile.
snapper decent, 2.5. Golden tile.
What's the golden at?
Kingfish is 33 pounds. That's easily.
Oh,
beatable.
bro.
14 pounds is
There
golden
is so
tile.
much money on the table right now.
There
There's
is.
still a lot of good species still to be caught that could be beat. I mean, everything's able
Kubera
to
is
be
only
beat.
30 pounds. Somebody could target that on any full moon. You know, go down a wreck.
Wait, who's got the Kubera? I gotta.
Let me see real quick.
Travis Scott.
Travis does. Okay.
Okay.
Travis Scott's got the friggin' Kubera.
Not
right
every
now.
day you catch a Kubera. though.
Amberjack's easily beatable. It's a 61 pounder. I think last year was a 100-pound amberjack.
like-
That was
Really?
hard to beat. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of fish.
Yeah,
And the reason why we chose 30 species, instead of really going down to the core stuff that everybody likes to brag and target, is because we've got, like you said, it starts in the Carolinas, wraps all the way around the Keys, all the way back up to Texas, and to have the 30 species really gives everybody in the zone
A broad
a
chance of
super
catching
broad
something different.
What is the most competitive species in the tournament, would you say?
Man,
For me personally, I think most of it's bottom fishing.
Okay.
So of course the groupers are going to be, in my opinion, and then now it seems like the mutton, everyone's going after this larger than 20-pound mutton, which is a very big mutton. If anyone's ever mutton snapper fishing, that's
yeah.
another fish when you get a 12 pounder on the boat, you're saying it's 18 pounds because the head's so big, and when it slaps on the deck, you're like, that's a monster, you know, and then you weigh it and
I
realize
think
it's-
for us Florida boys, like mutton, especially our coast, like mutton snapper, that's a staple for us. We grew up and we're like all about the mutton.
It's a highly looked after fish on our coast.
one of the best tasting
They are.
there.
They
And
are.
they fight like hell too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to go on my uncle got me into long range fishing, and it was like that's back when like Tortugas was like whoa,
The
you went
thing to
you-
do.
yeah, you
Yeah,
went to the
100%.
right. But for us, you know, broke Florida boys, like the only way to get out there, you got to get on a head boat, right? Like none of us had the means to or the boats
the boat to even
that
make it
that
there.
can make it out
That's-
there.
yeah.
So they had, you know, back in the day was the Yankee Cap was around. He was coming down in the summer times or
Andy
when-
Griffith charters.
Andy
I'll throw that out there.
Griffith.
We used to do that a lot, 20 years ago. We'd
That's
go on
right.
there.
Andy Griffith. I've been on the Andy Griffith, and then the Fish Finder. Do you remember the Fish Finder?
No.
Back in the day, man. But my uncle got me into it, and I think I remember as a teenager, my first trip out there. I think I caught something like 20 muttons, and it was just incredible,
Catch
dude.
that right moon and
Yeah. Oh, it was incredible. We had the right bait, not the dude.
That could be important.
what
They
it
were
was?
Johnny Jigs, right?
Of course, Johnny Jig goggle eyes. Yeah, but not everybody on the boat was catching fish, man. I would say majority of the guys weren't really doing that well. But I just remember my uncle, he made sure that we had fresh goggle eyes, and then like as that bite slowed down, we did like what they call the poo platter. So you put the goggle eye on, and then you put a second bait on there, whether it's a squid or like a sardine or
That's
something.
it. That's like a West Coast secret right there.
The old poo platter,
I'm
man.
gonna send you guys a picture. We were just deep dropping for yellow eyes the other day, and we put a pork rind and a $1 bill on a hook, and we sent it down there.
No,
Just a gag. Like,
Did you
we
get-
got a picture. That's pretty funny.
Where'd you guys go yellow eye?
We run across the Bahamas a lot.
Oh, okay.
And where we live.
I know where you're
we,
at.
Yeah.
Right where you caught that 80-pounder.
Oh
In that
yeah.
vicinity for sure. Yeah, where we live, you know, it's an easy run over there, easy check in.
Yeah.
And,
Out of Jensen, right? Like
yeah,
you cut
Stuart-
across
Stuart
Jensen.
Yeah.
And then you cut across. Yeah, I've done that trip twice with you, Chris.
Yep.
And then I did it once where we kind of trailed each other.
Yep, we usually stay in Grand Cay, check in over there, and then we usually fish for a day or two back there in their waters. But I've done some trips with Johnny, man, and I was there when he got his monster friggin' mystic.
Oh my
I
god,
mean,
dude! So, and just for our listeners, so we like Chris Doyle and myself left a little bit earlier than these guys. We were gonna ride together, but we were in radio contact, and you know we were just doing it for safety reasons, and I wanted to run the Dusky over there just to see her do it, you know. But I told the fellas, I'm like, hey, you know what, guys, you're leaving late. I was like, I'm gonna fill this cooler before you get here. And dude, little did I know that I was gonna do it with one fish.
That's awesome.
That was, I mean, it doesn't for me. That was like that's been the pinnacle of
That's
my
the highlight
my-
right
oh,
there.
bro, an
You're
80
right.
pound Mystic group, 80.4 pound Mystic grouper, like.
And that was the first trip on your boat over there?
Yeah,
Oh,
bro.
my
I don't think I'll ever do it.
You
Dude,
can't top it this day.
you remember I pull up to the dock and I'm like, boys, you're not gonna believe what's in my cooler.
I think it broke the first set of strings we had on there.
Yeah, that was incredible, man. Gosh, I love fishing over there. Let's do it again, man. When you guys are ready, let's do
Yeah,
it.
the spring's almost here, so I run a lot of tuna. We run out tuna, go check in, you know, go in a deep drop or jig, and and then wake up the next morning and go out and
Yeah,
so.
let's do it. I think that's why. Another reason. I mean, you guys are super fishy. If you follow the Southern Fortune Fishing Tournament Instagram, or if you check out Fish Slayer, what is it?
Fish Slayer 1385.
1385.
And I usually put up all of our videos on there and everything that we got going on. Usually I'm fishing with the crew. 99% of the time I'm with these boys.
Yeah, if you follow Southern Fortune, you'll quickly see why all of us got into this in the passion, because a lot of the videos come from, you know, us. And now that we've got enough people and a lot of great people, we get to, another cool thing with our tournament is we get a lot of these clips. So we do get a lot of footage and content from other people that provide us too. So
it gives you a lot of example videos. Basically, it shows you exactly from video 1, exactly what they did, all the way to video 2, exactly how they did it. So basically, there are example videos all on our Instagram. There's basically all of our anglers in the tournament, all of them weighing in their fish, measuring their fish, So if you're having a little bit of trouble understanding the rules, you could always go to a video and see exactly how it's
or
done.
just pick up the phone and call. We have Julie that
We have
that
a
understands
lovely
everything.
marketing
Yes,
lady,
that's right.
Julie. You can
Yeah.
always talk to Julie. She'll definitely walk you through it.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Perfect. That is perfect.
But
so
you can
it's
register.
easy.
Yeah, it's easier
easy.
to register.
So we just go to southernfortunefishing.com.
Yep.
Correct. You can register there,
Yep, new
download
angler.
the app, and really, if you read through the site just a little bit, you get the gist of it, and it's pretty darn easy to get in this tournament and get going. You could sign up right now.
Today,
Absolutely.
right now.
You could sign up a month from now. You could sign up a month from you can sign up
Whenever you want.
You can just get in. So
Yep.
so that's perfect, guys. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, as it starts to grow, we're going to start having tournaments within tournaments too. And so, yes, the original buy-in is a year long. We're going to start doing some Calcutta tournaments, like on the east coast of Florida. We get, if we're lucky, 2 days of American red snapper fishing, which I say lucky because some days you can't even fish because it's too choppy out there.
Yeah.
I think last year we only had 1 day.
One day.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but I think it'd be really cool. We've got a couple hundred people in the tournament. Hey, you guys on the East Coast, we'll send out an email. We're going to do a $300 buy-in. First, second, and third place wins.
Quick
And everyone
Calcutta
goes out
on
there.
that.
That's right.
You get the
that'd
money
be
that next
freaking
week,
so
so
rad,
our-
man.
We have like a really cool vision, but it's really just getting the volume and getting the word out and getting the trust with the people. And that's really what we want to do. We want to make sure we keep everybody happy. Unfortunately, that's impossible. Otherwise, you're fake if you're making everybody happy, in my opinion. But the reality is we want to make sure we've checked everything and gotten every kink out. So when it does get big, and let's just say it gets to 10,000 anglers, we've got it buttoned down and nobody can really, pick at what we've got going on.
Yeah.
And 1,000 signups will basically put like $5,300 into each species if there was 1,000 people.
Oh
in.
my gosh, that's so. I mean, that's obtainable, right?
It is obtainable.
Totally obtainable.
Just in the state of Florida, I think that's obtainable based on how many registered fishing licenses there are. But you drag that in from Texas all the way to the Carolinas.
I
It
mean,
is
1,000 people doesn't even sound like a lot of people at the end of the day. And I mean, for 5,000, and the more there is, the more money it goes.
Yeah, you guys are already successful. I see this just being huge. I mean, imagine if the Calcutta gets up to
Thousands,
thousand, or
10,000,
just to
20,000.
even to win into one thing, gets up to like 10,000, 20.
Exactly.
And it's easily doable.
It is. It's a slow growth, just as any business. You got to start,
Yeah.
crawl, and then walk, and then run, and we're in the crawl to walk phase right now.
Yeah.
Based on the memberships, and that's really what we want. And the reality is, what we've realized is it costs a lot of money to fish. It costs it's a passion, and if you're worried about the dough, don't get into fishing because it's something that you're constantly going to be broke on. But we realized having the smaller prizes, it kind of takes away from certain people because I fish on a boat that's a 41 footer and we burn $3,000 in fuel in one trip, and to have a small prize, it doesn't really entice some of these guys. So we never want to get in, spread the word, join and grow it, and then we'll really have something cool.
And that's
when
why
it
we added the
grows.
Calcutta.
Yeah.
That's right.
Guys, well, I want to thank you for putting together such a cool tournament for us to enjoy. I know you guys do it for the anglers, and it's not about anything but that, just the enjoyment
absolutely.
of fishing. So that's pretty cool. And also, thank you for coming out today, digging
man,
into
thanks for
some
having
fish
us.
stories with us and being a part of the show. I'm sure we'll have you back, and I'm sure we'll fish together soon. So that's about all of the time that we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Tapping Bottom with Johnny Jigs. If you want to find out about the Southern Fortune Fishing Tournament, it will be in the description below, and we hope to catch you guys on the next one.
Cheers and tight lines.
Tight lines.